Hi everyone, this is my Module 3 for Leadership Styles, EDL 852. So we have leadership style, characteristics, traits, and ethics. When I took the quiz, I got a pragmatist, and after I read the email, I came through and I put some positives for it, and then I also added in some negatives. So some positives are that I have high standards, I'm competitive, driven, and I value hitting my goals. Negatives is it can lead to burnout, I give criticism, and I anticipate getting criticism, and then employee engagement is not always a priority. When we look at the leadership compass positives, so on there we took the quiz and check marked the boxes. So for the north part, which is action, I got 5. I enjoy challenges, fast paced, and I am not stopped by hearing the word no. So I went through each one of these and pulled out the ones that I really did feel like pertained to me. East vision, I scored 4, and I appreciate a lot of information and I like problem solving. Again, goes with enjoying the challenges. South empathy, I got 8, and I am supportive of my colleagues and I take statements at face value. So what you tell me, that's what I'm going to believe. I'm not going to look for any underlying meanings. And then the West is analytical. I scored a 6. I am dependable and I maximize my resources. Wherever you have positives, you also have some negatives. So some downfalls for the north, the action is I have trouble relinquishing control inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Very aware of it and working towards that, because as I move into an administration position, I need to be able to delegate tasks that I don't have to be the one to complete. East vision, I am enthusiastic early on, and that leads to burnouts, especially if a project is super long or not going the way that I had envisioned it. South empathy, I do have trouble saying no to requests, which can definitely lead to stress and, just getting way too many things on your plate. And then West analytical, I am stubborn. I can be very indecisive, and I like to work alone at times. Sometimes it's not easiest for me to be around people all the time, so that does make me appear cold and withdrawn, without meaning to, of course. So then we can talk about some leadership styles and traits. So when I went through and listened to the video that talked about the 10 different leadership styles, the ones that I thought really stood out to me that I think I naturally possess those leadership styles would be transactional leadership, because I work well personally with, rewards or consequences. I work well with that, and so I think I just automatically assume that I could do that well. And then situational leadership, he mentioned coaching high school boys versus coaching high school girls, and I definitely think that situational leadership is real and you have to be able to adapt to change. I definitely don't coach my high school girls the same way I would coach/teach my second graders. My goal for a leadership style or trait would be servant leadership and/or transformational. I believe that those both possess similar skills that I could learn, and I do think that that is actually how I would like to be led, and so lead by example, right? Some qualities that I believe that I possessed is I believe that I am responsible, honest, and I am always working to continue to improve. I'm not okay with staying the same. I want to get better in all areas. So when we talk about improving, there are 7 leadership qualities that great leaders usually possess. And a couple that I read that just really stand out to me that I don't think I am strong in would be to have a clear vision, and then getting others to buy into that vision, courage, humility, and then the ability to have clear communication. I believe that communication is just so important no matter what job you are in. And I know that my communication is actually really weak, and so I would like to get better at that as well. So my personal traits, so some that I believe that I have truly just learned from my life are I have learned to be hardworking and I have learned to be responsible for myself, my actions. And then some that I believe that I've inherited, competitive. I have always been very competitive. I like to win. So it's that kind of goes in with coaching is, you like to be competitive to win, but you can't really teach competitiveness, which I guess is something that my volleyball team is working on. But I just am naturally a competitive person. I like to win, I like to be the best, and I like to learn from others. If I'm not the best at something, then I want to learn from you so I can get better at it. And then also I put on here that I'm withdrawn sometimes, and I don't really know if that's inherited, but I am not always a very emotional person, and I don't always love to be around people. Sometimes I need to work on things all by myself, and that can appear withdrawn for sure. And one of the resources that we read, it talked about, I think it was in the very first resource about the leadership and like the perfect mixture for success. It talked about great leaders know how to take care of themselves. And I think that that's very important, not just for leaders to know, but for people in general to know how they can take care of themselves in order to take care of other people. And so I would definitely want to make sure that I didn't always appear withdrawn at school or that I got that away time before I got to school. Anyways, so I definitely think that my personal traits impact my school. I have had to unlearn some of my personal thoughts and behaviors, for example, fixed mindset versus growth mindset, in order for me to be a good teacher and a good example for my kiddos. And I would expect myself to have to do the same as I move into an administration position. One thing that I think will be hard but definitely be a reward is for my actions to consistently align with the school's vision. That way I can best serve the school and that way I can lead by example. So when we're taking a look at ethics, I think that it's important for a school to make sure that they have rules, policies, and procedures set in place prior to needing them. And I guess that kind of goes back to a course I took in the fall. Like, we need to be proactive versus reactive, and I definitely think being proactive, especially where ethics are involved, can help ease whatever process you're going through. But if you have those policies, procedures in place before you need them, they're more likely to be fair versus being based off of a personal situation. So, and then it talks about how like the right behavior for a leader, it can often change with the situation or the location. So we need to be able to be adaptable at all points in time. But the leader also needs to be able to work for the common good, promote the success of students, because that's why we're there, while upholding the mission/vision of the school. And I think all of those put together would be the perfect recipe, but that's one of those things that is going to require continuous work on the leader's position. When we talk about areas for improvement, I think that staff should be required to attend some sort of leadership training. Even if they never plan to move into a school leadership role, I do think it would be beneficial for staff, if nothing else, than to teach people how to work together. We are taught on how to work with kids, but not necessarily how to work best and have great working relationships with other adults. And I think that that's a skill that gets overlooked, but could really be beneficial, especially when you start talking about, having a healthy school culture and community. So then now I want to talk about the standards. So correlation, this assignment was correlated to the standard because we were informed about professional dispositions and norms, evaluating the presence of ethic and legal duties while maintaining the need to put children's success first. And it is relevant because, this assignment was relevant to my current learning because as a future school leader, it is important that I begin developing my needed skills and traits in order to be a successful leader. Right now is the time to put in the work to become the kind of leader that I would want to work for someday. And then reflection, this assignment will help me influence the decisions I make as a future school leader by teaching me about the different leadership styles, their positives and negatives. I think it also gives me great insight on what to look for in a healthy school community, as what questions to ask to help promote a healthy school community. And then these are my resources. Thank you.